everybody, it's Dina, and I'm back with another video. Hi everybody, I am here to show you my comparison of these 4 store brand yarns. Now, I'm going to show you, first of all, we're going to go over the pricing and yardage and all of that at the end of the video after my comparison, because I want to compare the actual feel of the yarn and crocheting with it and what I feel is the quality before I know how much it cost. Okay, so this is the Walmart store brand Mainstays 100% acrylic yarn. So that is what I'm comparing, the 100% acrylic yarn, basic yarn for the store brand for Walmart, Joann's, Michaels, and Hobby Lobby. So Mainstay is Walmart, okay? And they're all a size 4. Now, I did want to just do this totally based on what they recommend for a hook size versus my preferred one, just so I'm going, so we can compare apples to apples. Now, Mainstay requires a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. I love this yarn. They say 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. And Big Craft Smart, which is Michaels, I believe they also recommend a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. So the only one that's different is Big Twist from Joann's, and they recommend a 5 millimeter crochet hook. So I'm going to start with Joann's. Very easy center pull. It was right there, extremely easy. Okay. One of the things I love that's a little extra that doesn't have to do with the yarn, but the labeling. I love labels that show you how many balls or skeins you need for a particular project. So if you look here, okay, all right, this is close. Okay, so what I love is that for a 50 to 60 inch Afghan, you need 4 skeins. For an adult size sweater, you need 3. For a hat, you need 1. And for a hat and scarf, it says you need 1. So I really like that. I wish all labels would do that. It just makes it so much easier buying. And then you don't need to know the yards of the pattern. Or if you don't know what pattern you're going to do yet, but I think I want to make a sweater. So I would always say, okay, that's an average adult. That's not going to be a super tiny or a super, larger one. So I would either go up or down based on my, what I'm going to be making. But I think that's very helpful. Okay, so super easy center pull. Very easy. Okay, so this is a 5.5. Let's find my 5. I'm also just using basic hooks. Now I prefer either one of these are boys. These are just generics as well. So they're more in line with a boy, I think. So here's a 5. And let's get a slip knot on. Okay. And I'm just going to chain 12. Okay, I just want to make sure this is focusing because I feel like it's not, but again, I'm blind. All right, so this is the chain of 12. It feels okay, a little pulley. So I'm just going to do a half double crochet. 1, 2, in the second chain from the hook. I'm just going to do a half double crochet. I think half double crochets is a really good stitch to compare yarns with. This yarn, I'm not gonna be able to use the right wording, but it feels like it's not smooth, and it feels like there's a lot of extra going on. Now, if you look, it's not spun very tight. It's very loosely spun. And it's not going over the hook. It's pulling a little bit when I pull here. And like I said, you can feel that the quality is not that good. Like, this is not a high quality. I can tell it feels like it's breaking apart. See how it's splitting? Right there. Yeah, this is very splitty. It's not very soft. I mean, I used this for my 2022 temperature throw, and I have not washed it yet, but it is not soft at all. Let's see what it looks like. Now, it looks like I wasn't doing very consistent tension. So this might be me, because you can see it's much smaller here. So I'm going to rip it out, and I want to see if it was me or if it's the yarn. And I'm ripping it out, and I'm going to use the same yarn, because you never know, like the same section of the yarn. But definitely splitty. Okay, so here it is. It's a little bit more consistent. So that was me. Okay, so half double crochet. Here we go. Now I want to do a couple of rows so we can just compare. They all say they're 4 weight, okay? I want to compare, because 1 4 to the next 4, you'll see they could be different. So it's, I'm going to do a few rows so we can compare how many stitches and rows give you, how many inches. So we can compare kind of like a gauge swatch. And again, still not feeling great. Now, again, I'm just using a basic hook, nothing fancy, but I wanted to do that because I want you guys to have the basic information. Not everybody has clover hooks or furls hooks, and not everybody likes the same hooks. So the way this yarn is going to work, the way it's going to feel and the way it's going to work up with a basic hook, in my opinion, is the best way to get a true comparison and true information for you. Because if it's, the information I'm giving you on a cheapy hook, it'll be better no matter what on a hook that you prefer, and a smoother hook. Now, I do think clover hooks, for some reason, they make all yarn feel much smoother. They're excellent for that. Now, I'm going to apologize in advance if you hear my dog. I think my husband's getting home. There we go. I think I'll do one more row, which could give us a good enough measuring to compare. So that's 4 rows and 12 stitches, or 12 chains. So it's probably 11 stitches and 4 row comparison. Again, the center pull is very smooth. The yarn itself is catchy, it's splitty, and it doesn't feel smooth on the hook. And it's not soft, so. Okay. All right, so this is sample number 1. Stitch definition's not horrible. It's pretty good. As you can see, it's pretty good. I'm using my iPhone instead of my 35mm camera, so you have to bear with me. It's not as easy. Okay, so this is the stitch definition, the little swatch, and for Joann's Big Twist. And they recommend a 5mm. So now I'm going to move on to Michael's Craft Smart. Now just in the hank, it feels softer. Okay? Easy center pull. Okay, and we're going to use the 5.5mm crochet hook because that's what they recommended. And again, I'm going to chain 12. And 12. Feels a hair smaller, smoother, and it is softer. And we're going to half double crochet in the second chain from the hook, or the second bump. Okay, let's see if it splits. It definitely seems not only smoother and softer, it feels a little mushier, if that makes any sense. It's gliding better. It is somewhat of a loose spun, but it's not splitting like the Big Twist did. I don't think I've had a split yet. Always hard to get into the last bump. Sometimes I finagle this way. Okay, I'm going to chain 1 and turn. And just continue my half double crochets until we have the same number of rows, which was 4. So this is row number 2, and it is much smoother. It has not split yet. So that means it's definitely splitting less. Okay, last stitch. Okay. And now we're going to go into the 3rd row. Okay, I'm just finishing up the 4th row. Evan came in and interrupted, so I had to pause the video. Okay, last stitch. Okay, so this did not split for me during this little tiny swatch. And it definitely feels softer. I'd say the stitch definition is pretty good. Look at that. Pretty good. And yeah, definitely feels a lot softer. So that was Michael's. Next, we're going to do the Walmart Mainstay 100% acrylic yarn. And let's see, I don't see the center pull as easily. See if I can find it. Yep, pretty good. I do love skeins like this that the center pulls are so easy. Though you usually don't get the higher end yarns in skeins like this. And this also requires 5.5. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Half double crochet in the second chain from the hook. This does not feel as soft as the Michaels. It feels more similar to the Joann's, and it's crocheting similar, but it has not split. Now what I mean is the Michaels ones seem to have glided on the hook a little bit better. These are not huge differences. This isn't like a, oh my God, huge difference, but it is noticeable. But this has not split. It is, I feel like it's the same softness. It's not super soft. The Michaels one is still softer. At the end, when I have all 4 swatches, I'm going to do more of a comparison when they're done, which is softer and stuff. Okay, so let's do the second row. So far, this has not split. It is not as smooth on the hook, or, this is interesting, I don't know if you guys notice, it's not as smooth on my finger as it's dragging along. It definitely feels rougher. Okay, we have 2 more rows, still not splitting. Yeah, I'll tell you though, the splitting makes such a difference because it really takes up time. And I think it messes with your tension because when you get in a groove, it's what keeps your tension flowing. And then if something splits and you have to stop or it like makes you jam, it really messes up your tension. So splitting yarn to me is one of my deal breakers for yarn. So recently I did a project with, I think the Kaboo, Lion Brand Kaboo, and it gives the most beautiful drape and it's really soft, but boy, does that yarn split. And I've used it twice, you know, for 2 different projects, and I will not use it again. The splitting to me is a deal breaker. It just is. I think I have 4 rows, hopefully. Yes. Okay. So here's the finished one. Let's look at stitch definition. Okay. It's got decent stitch definition as well. I do think this one might have the best stitch definition so far, but we shall see. Okay, put that over here. And the last one is Hobby Lobby. I love this yarn. And let's see if I could find the center pull. Oh yeah, it's right here, super easy. This is definitely softer than the Big Twist and Mainstay. I don't have an immediate which one's softer as far as Craft Smart or this. Five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, it didn't split, but it's also not super tightly spun. Now I'd say the Mainstay was the tightest spun one. So half double crochet. Now this one's splitty, and second chain from hook, and let's see how much this splits. This is definitely softer, without a doubt, than Big Twist, but it is spun loosely like Big Twist. So I'm going to see how much if it splits as much. It feels a little bit higher of a quality. It glides much better on the hook than the Big Twist. When we're done with the 4 swatches, we're also, not only are we going to look at yardage and pricing, we're going to look at color selection, because that can make a difference too. Okay. Turn. Okay, so far it only split once. I want to get my speed up because that's when it usually splits for me. Oh, so far so good with the splitting. Definitely feels softer in my hand and along my finger. Now when we compare the swatches, we're going to have to keep in mind that the mainstay, the Craft Smart, and I Love This Yarn, we all used, or I used, a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. And I used a 5 for the Big Twist because that is what it called for. So if the Big Twist is smaller, then that does make sense. If it's not, then we have to add, like, so let's say it's bigger, then we know it's much loftier because I used a smaller hook too. So we have to remember that when we're comparing. We're almost at the end and it only split once. It's definitely smooth on the hook. Definitely softer. Doesn't really pull. Okay. Okay, this is the stitch definition. All right, let's bring them all out. Okay, that's the Hobby Lobby. Here's the mainstay. Here's the Craft Smart. And Joann's. Okay. So this is a little smaller, which totally makes sense because it was a smaller hook. How much smaller? So I think you could use either hook for this. I don't know why they say to go for a smaller hook. I'm going to do this right now again with the larger hook to see if it pulls less and if it splits less, because I want to be able to compare it exactly. Yeah, I gotta tell you, this feels horrible in my hand. Like, I feel like it's all like bumpy or something, or crinkly. It just does not feel good in my hand. Okay, now we'll compare size 2. I mean, without a doubt, this is my least favorite. So the Joann Big Twist is my absolute least favorite. This is so noticeably rougher. It is so much less enjoyable to crochet with. It's ridiculously noticeable. Okay. Now, I use the same hook, and it's still smaller. Stitch definition, I pretty much think, if I look at these, I pretty much think the two best are these two for stitch definition. I think this is a little better. This is the mainstay, and then this is the Hobby Lobby, and then I'd say this is third, and then this is fourth. Now for softness, and if you see this drape, I'm trying to think how to show you this. This one, the Hobby Lobby has a little bit more drape. This has like no drape. Hold on. It's like staying almost straight. Okay. This, yuck. I'm sorry. I don't like it at all. And it's surprising because I love the Big Twist line for some of their other yarns. Not the basic acrylic. No, we're getting rid of that. I Love This Yarn and Michaels have the best feel to them. I Love This Yarn is softer. It is by far the softest one, and almost silky soft. So this is the order I would put them in for me as far as softness, gliding on the hook, and no splitting, and stitch definition. I mean, I do think this has really good stitch definition, but this is just as good. So because this is not as soft, and this has better drape, I would say, I think these two I'd put tie though, depending what I was making, okay? Because this is by far the softest, gives good stitch definition, does not split, gives good drape. So this one wins number one. And I kind of thought that was going to happen, but I was kind of hoping it wouldn't because it is probably the most expensive one. But I'd say Michaels, Craft Smart, and Walmart Mainstay tie. This gives a little better stitch definition. This is softer. Neither really split. They come out to be all about the same size. So for gauge wise, they're all good for. And this is a little softer. But again, depending what you're making, I mean, it's softer, but it's also, I feel like, might not hold up as well. So I'm going to go, after I'm done with this, and I'm going to throw the 4 of these in the wash and dry it real quick just to see if it does anything and see what they look like after. But yeah, that's my comparison. You know, I hope this helped. It definitely helped me. I'm glad I did it because now I know I'm not going to go to Joann's for Big Twist for basic acrylic. I'm just not going to do that. But any one of these 3 are good. This is definitely rougher. So I would never make a garment out of this. It does not feel good. This can definitely be a garment, and this can be a garment. So if you're making a hat, I don't think there's anything wrong with this. Or, you know, baskets, things like that. I think this would be great. For garments that you're going to wear close to your skin, I would go with the Hobby Lobby or the Craft Smart. Okay. Now I'm going to take you to the computer screen. Okay, we're going to start with I Love This Yarn. And as you can see, it's normally $4.99, but with their 30% off sale, it's $3.49. This yarn is, again, 100% acrylic. You get an unbelievable selection of colors. I think it's something like 70 different colors. No joke, 70 different colors. So by far, out of the 4 of them, I Love This Yarn has the best color selection. Now, I'm going to put a little chart here in a second to show you how much this is per yard. So that's how we can compare. I'm just letting you see the colors again, because there are so many beautiful colors to choose from. And this is just the solid 100% acrylic. I love this yarn. They have a lot of other, I love this yarns. They have the metallic and all different kinds. But this is such a selection of color. It's absolutely stunning and very soft. Okay, now here's the breakdown. You get 355 yards per skein. They're $3.49 per skein. Now I did put that as the regular price, even though they're normally $4.99, and that's only because Hobby Lobby has 30% off every other week guaranteed. That makes it 0.0098 cents per yard. Okay, let's look at the mainstays. This is $2.98, but this does not have nearly the selection of colors. I love this yarn with 70 colors, and I think this is 16 or 17. So if you don't need that many colors or not picky, this would be a good option. All right, let's break it down. 397 yards per skein at $2.98 per skein. That makes this 0.0075 cents per yard. Okay, now we're going to move on to Joann's, the big twist. As you can see, it's $4.49. Now you can get it on sale for $3.14. I got it on sale for $2.99, but it's more common at $3.14. Now, they have a pretty good selection of colors, just like Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby had 70, but Joann's has 50. So if you're just looking for a huge variety of colors, which is why I picked this for the temperature throw in 2022, because it's a little less expensive than Hobby Lobby, and they have an unbelievable selection of beautiful, gorgeous colors, just like I love this yarn. So many pretty colors. Look at that. All right, Joann's big twist. Here we go. 380 yards per skein. Now their regular price is $4.49 per skein. They don't go on sale that often, is with my experience. Now that makes it 0.0118 per yard. Now it has gone on sale for $3.19 a few times, and sometimes you get a little less, but this is pretty much the most I've seen it, and that makes it 0.0084 per yard. Now, since Joann's is not a frequent, like, the only reason I use the sale price for Hobby Lobby is because that's a guarantee every other week. Right now they do 30% off, so it's almost like the regular price, just shop that week. So I'm going to base this yarn to say it's 0.0118 per yard. Okay, now here's the last one, Michaels Craft Smart. They have an okay selection of colors. Now this is $3.99. I can't tell, but I don't believe that's on sale. But I've seen it on sale for $3.19, nothing huge. I don't see this going on sale for anything super big. So again, at the end of this, you're going to see a recap of the yards and the price, so I can give you guys a price per yard on this. But regularly, it's normally $3.99. Okay, Michael's breakdown. They come 354 yards per skein at $3.99 per skein, which would make it 0.0112 per yard. Now, a lot like Joann's, these go on sale, but it's not a guarantee like Hobby Lobby for $3.19, and that would make this one 0.0090 per yard. Okay, I got them out of the dryer. I washed them and I dried them, and don't notice much of a difference except for one, and I'll tell you which one as soon as I can focus. Okay, here's the Michaels Craft Smart. Here is the, okay, Walmart Mainstays, and here is the I Love This Yarn, Hobby Lobby, and here is the Joann's Big Twist. Okay, the Joann's is somewhat softer, okay, but it's still not as soft as the rest of them, okay, but it did make it somewhat softer that I wouldn't hate it, but I still thought it split way too much, so there you go for that. Michael's seems just as soft, maybe a little softer. I just crocheted up a little thing here. It's a little softer. The Mainstay is a lot softer. However, look at what it did. So this was a tail, now granted. So I don't know how well this is going to hold up, but this got substantially softer. I'd say it's almost as soft as Michael's, but Michael's is still a little bit softer. But again, this gave really great stitch definition, so that's good. And the Hobby Lobby, honestly, I don't notice much of a difference at all. It's as soft as it was before. So again, I'd say these three are excellent choices. I don't know how they would hold up with repetitive washing, but you know, they're excellent choices. And so there you go, after they have been washed and dried. Okay, here's the complete breakdown for you. I put it in order from price low to high. So Mainstay is the cheapest one at 0.007 per yard. And then you have I Love This Yarn. Keep in mind this is at the 30% off. And that's at 0.0098 per yard. And then it's kind of a tie between Michael's and Joann's, depending. So if you get it at regular price, then Michael's is a little cheaper at 0.0112 per yard. And that would bring Joann's to 0.0118 per yard. And if you get them on sale, and they're both usually about $3.19 on sale, Michael's would be a little more at 0.0090 per yard, and Joann's at 0.0084. What I find absolutely stunning and amazing with this is my least favorite yarn is the most expensive one here. So I'm happy to report that my favorite one is I Love This Yarn, and it is, you know, very reasonably priced when you have it 30% off. And Mainstay had an incredible stitch definition, so that's always a good option as well. And both are excellent prices. So I hope this helped you, and you could always refer back to it if you need to. And, you know, let me know your thoughts in the comment if you have a favorite out of these four or a go-to, and what your thoughts and opinions are on them. Okay, everybody, I hope you guys are all doing great, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!